Hey guys, it's Todd. Welcome to Personal Development Hacks and our latest episode. If you guys are out there and you're feeling stuck and kind of repeating the same day after day, and not living your best life, and you want something different, um, we've got programs and coaching that are there for you to help you. So. Um, I'm going to continue a little bit about what we talked about this last episode on Tuesday, and just some things to think about that you can start right now, today. Things to start adjusting kind of your mindset with um, getting out of the short term fix and into designing things for your life, and being able to make intentional decisions, and take intentional actions about what you're doing. Um, Life is out there for each and every one of us, to create what we want and to do what we want and live where we want, everything. But we need to take actions, obviously, to get to that point. The thinking about it or the design of it, it's simple, but it's not easy. The simple part is making the decision that something that you want or something that you're going to do. The not easy part, the hard part, is then making it happen. So, um, just kind of things to think about in life in general, and just little reminders. Some of these will seem completely, off base, or have nothing to do with you, and that's fine. They're just things that kind of are can be in your head. So, but you should be smart enough to realize that, the some of these things. First is, porn isn't real sex, and cocaine isn't real energy. They're obviously artificial stimulants. Alcohol isn't real courage. Real courage is standing up when you know something's right. Um, we've all either experienced it or seen it, or whatever. The person that is out there and they get real courageous when they start when they start drinking. So, um, just realize that's not truly what courage is. Um, Gambling is not real investing. Um, yeah, and that can be a varying scale. Some people will be out there saying that Bitcoin is a gamble, and other people will say no, that's a true investment. And I've got friends on both sides of that. One of which is Charlie, who has a show on this channel, and he's a huge believer and has taught me about, like, the investment side, and how, if you're smart about it, you can make real money at it. But um, betting on blackjack, or at the roulette wheel, or taking a bonus check to Vegas and hoping to double or triple it, that's truly not investing. Um, you might get lucky, and if you do, that's great, that's awesome. But it's not sustainable. So that's something that really investing you want to look for, right? Is something that's going to sustain, and ideally something that creates cash flow, that you get to the point where you've got enough invested in cash flowing investments, like real estate, like, things like that, that that's going to get to the point where it exceeds what you make on a daily basis, just from working. And then you got a decision to make. Is it enough? Is you comfortable enough to where you can do something else, or do you want to run that way for a number of years and really make an impact, so that when you do ultimately decide I'm done. I'm going to go sit on a beach somewhere. You really get to go live in style. So, um, business books aren't really business. Um, Keep in mind, a lot of times, not all, but a lot of cases, it's a scholar writing a book about business. And they might be writing about entrepreneurship, but never actually created a business. Or, they might be talking about, systems or leadership or stuff like that. And they're not roles that they've actually had. So there's things to be taken from them, but just keep in mind that that's not real business. As much as you want to say that you can learn in school and high school and college and stuff like that, I mean, it might lay a foundation for you, but it doesn't actually teach you. You know, real business is done when you sit down with people face to face and you have an honest conversation about, what you're looking for and what you need and what they're looking for and what they need. And is it a match? And, do you like, know, and trust the other person? And vice versa, to potentially kind of do business together, or is it not? But it's just because it's in a textbook or a book that you can buy doesn't make it real business. Um, Social media isn't really social, and that's very true. What started off as a platform for keeping people connected and staying online and making friends, or sharing photo albums with your family and stuff like that. It's not really social anymore. It has become more about promotion, or people looking for learning. You see a ton of different people, myself included, that you run ads on Facebook hoping to catch the attention of the client that meets the criteria that you've set out, and is looking for something that your message speaks to, and at least starting a relationship there, that you can turn into doing business down the line. But it has become less social and more, just about promotion and all sorts of different things. So, you're not gonna meet your you're not the platforms are not necessarily there anymore with the original intent of being a social outlet. And just as society has gone along, it's gone perverted, and you have people that are out there taking advantage of different stuff, or portraying to be someone that they're not, things like that. So, um, nightly news is not, they're not really always the real facts. Um, like any company, there is political slants one way or the other. The with especially with your nightly news, um, bad news sells. Um, they're going to start with an eye-catching, most horrific thing that you've ever seen in your life to get you pulled in. Not the not necessarily the run of the mill every day. Hey, Joe's a good person, and watch him help this person take their cart out and unload their groceries and take the cart back. That doesn't sell. So they're going to start with, car accident or a house fire or whatever. But something to catch your attention. So my only guidance there is just take it with a grain of salt. Whatever you're seeing on the nightly news, and just get out and experience it yourself instead of living it through what other people are saying or seeing. Caffeine is not real adrenaline, as much as most of us, a lot of us, myself included, that first cup of coffee in the morning tends to kind of get the blood flowing and get everything going. But that's not really adrenaline. It's it's caffeine. It amps you up for a reason, and then as soon as you get to the top and the caffeine wears off, then you end up crashing. So, but so just it's something to where don't seek out that artificial high and drink coffee all day long. I mean, I know some people just can't live without it, but don't confuse it with actual adrenaline. And lastly is video games are not real life. As much as our kids and a little bit older generations, they live their lives through these video games and things that people are doing and building and experiencing and stuff like that. I mean, you've seen some that are just horrific. First person shooter games or whatever, and the grand thefts and stuff like that, and you're just like, that's what you're exposing your kids are looking at. Same thing on the other hand is like Minecraft and stuff like that, like building these things with blocks, and now there's people are making all sorts of money, like posting their YouTube videos of them building a city and stuff like that. And it's not real life, right? It's figures on a screen that a really smart company went and they found a niche and they developed to it, and all of a sudden it just creates this huge wave of attention and people looking at it, but it's not real. So now I know I've mentioned it before, but I'm currently 47. I'll be 48 later this year. If you're out there, I don't care what age you are, if you're 25 or 75, you got to stop using your age as an excuse. It's just a number. Different bones hurt or different muscles, or you can't, do what you did when you're 18 if you're 58 or whatever. But it's not an excuse. You just have to course correct exactly what you're doing. You're not going to be able to go out and play, all out for 8 hours a day like you did when you're 18. But you can course correct and just be like, no, I'm going to go hard for 2 hours. Because obviously at that age or whatever, you might have other responsibilities or different things that you've got to go and do. But so just stop using your age as an excuse to lift weights. Doesn't matter how much, how little, or if it's just like some form of activity. Be it just simple push-ups and sit-ups and squats or something like that. Something that you can do in the comfort and privacy of your home. You don't even, that doesn't require any athletic gear, things that you can just do at your house, but it gets your body moving, it gets your muscles used to engaging, and you can do it at any age. We've seen the people that, at 75 they're benching 225 or whatever, or, stuff like that. I'm not saying you take it to that level, but just don't use your age to say, well, I can't lift anymore, because you can. You can do very simple stuff. As well, at any age you can write a book. Actually, the little bit older that you get, the better that book probably gets, especially if you're basing it on just real life experiences, because you've had more of them. You're not going to buy a book about life from a first-time author that's 16, but you might buy a book of life by a first-time author who is 75, because they've had that experience and they've seen more things. When my great-grandmother died a number of years back, she was like 102. And I just remember thinking, like, in her lifetime, she saw the advent of the vehicle, planes. She went through a couple world wars, all sorts of other stuff. And, it was all during her lifetime. And, I mean, her first experience, like when she was born in like the 1890s or something at the time, because this is a number of years ago. But I mean, most people were on horse and buggy. And now we're, looking at an all electric fleet by 2030. And that's a really short time to go from 1 horsepower basically to, these electric vehicles that they're electric. So it's if you got something to say, write it. Doesn't mean it has to get published or anything like that, but you can certainly sit down and write out like a life story, or make something up based on things that have happened to you, but just you put them in kind of a different fantasy world, or a different world, or a different, you tell a story about it. At any age you can find new love, not necessarily specific to like an individual, but maybe you discover flying, that you want to be a pilot at age 58, and you get super passionate about it, and now all of a sudden it's like every moment that you get, you're getting up in the air because that's your new love. Or it could be personal. There's if whatever reason that you're who you started out life with as with a significant other is no longer in your life as a significant other, and you find yourself alone. There's tons of people that are in similar scenarios as you, that you have to be open to it and go and find them, or put yourself out there. It's like we talked about on Tuesday. Don't live your life looking backwards. If that original significant other, that relationship has ended, any new relationship, you can't use it as a comparison. That's looking backwards. look forwards, and what does this person have to offer? What does this hobby, or this, all of a sudden you're into fly fishing, and what does that have to offer? And the peace and the quiet, and being out in nature, is that what really kind of fuels, and what you find you're like a love in being able to go and able to do. Also, at any age, you can start a new business. Um, you don't have to be 22 and super into computers and a computer genius to start a new business. It could be, you're a baker, and everyone comments that how good your cakes are, or how good your muffins are, or whatever. If you're getting that many comments, then you can create a business out of it. It just goes to what time and effort do you want to put into it. Do you want to keep it really small and just say, look, this is for friends and family, and if you want some extras, yes, I'll sell them to you? Or do you want to create a, a like a side business out of it, or something that's going to generate income for you, that you can go and sell your goods? But your age does not qualify or disqualify you from starting a new business. You can also, at any age, you can go climb a mountain. I'm fortunate. I live in Denver, so they're kind of on my doorstep, and there's tons of opportunity and tons of trails. I'm not saying that you got to go get ready to hike Mount Everest, but there's so many trails and opportunities out there, and a lot of them are I'm not going to say they're easy, but they're not super technical. It's like going for a long uphill walk, and take some time at those and just look around. And as you gain elevation, God, I said this a while ago, but it's like, the further you go, the more you see. Same thing, the higher you go, the more you're going to see. It's an amazing perspective when you get on top of something and have everything laid out around you, and just what you actually get to see and experience. Finding a little mountain stream that goes into a little mountain lake that, unless you're out there, you have no idea that it exists. So, also, at any age, you can create a new you. That's kind of the part of what we're talking about this whole time, is when you set out to do something, to achieve something, be it health, wealth, relationships, whatever. And as you're going through it, it morphs from what you're doing into who you are. Essentially, that's what you're doing. You're creating a new version of yourself for the remaining time of your life. And it's going to come with all sorts of different opportunities, and all sorts of different relationships, and all sorts of different people that you're going to meet, and things that might not have interested you 2 years ago. Now you're going to find yourself like looking for those things. Be it, let's say you get out and you're like, I want to climb a new mountain, and you get out, and all of a sudden you get to that little mountain kind of creek, and into that mountain pond or whatever, and you notice that there's fish in there, and you realize, like, why can't I fish here? and all of a sudden it sparks a new interest, and now it's a new you, and there are things that you can do. So don't ever be afraid to create a new and improved, higher performing version of yourself. Just remember, you're not dead till you're dead. Okay. All right. So talk a little bit about your ego. And I say your ego, but just ego in general. And things that are toxic to our sense of well-being, and what we can do instead of that to get rid of that toxic feeling, that toxic ego, and put ourselves in a more positive place. Okay. All right. So one thing is limited thinking. If you're looking at it and thinking, this is the best my life's going to get. I'm in this job. I'm capped out except for, cost of living expenses, or, I'm 50 and this is as in shape as I'm going to get. Those are all limited thinking things. Instead, obviously, do the opposite. Have unlimited thinking. Look at it and say, you know what? Instead of I'm 50, I'm in as good a shape as I'm going to get. Say, you know what? I'm 50. I want to get to where I feel like I was 20 years ago. Your body's obviously going to react differently, but as long as you're making the effort and you're not limited by that toxicity of you can't do it, you can't do it, you can't do it, then there's no reason that you shouldn't or can't or won't do it. But just get rid of the ceilings and the barriers in your life that are self-created by your own thoughts. A lot of times our own worst enemy is ourselves. So get rid of those things that are holding you back, those obstacles, and just be unlimited in what you're thinking or what you're doing. If currently you are the type that seeks safety, and that could be in any number of different aspects, a job because you like the safety of knowing that every 2 weeks a certain paycheck's going to show up, or where you keep your money. You like the safety of having it in your savings account because it's easily accessible and I know exactly what's there. And is it growing? Probably not. Well, definitely not. But you like that safety. Or you're in a relationship where it's for convenience and you've been together for 20 years, and you like that safety of, I know that when I get home and Tuesday is casserole night, or this show's on TV or whatever. But I'm not saying you blow up your life, but take some calculated risks. Every once in a while, just be like, you know what, I'm just going to do this. And not that it has to be unsafe, but it could be a little risk. And if you calculate it and you're like, no, it's, my payoff is a lot greater than my risk, do it. Push yourself, stretch yourself, figure out what you're actually capable of. If you're currently, like, your ego says you need to seek stability, again, paychecks or routine or location, like where you live, stuff like that. Or, just your your every day looks exactly the same. Every once in a while, you just gotta just flow with changes. And if you're out and a friend of yours is talking about an opportunity, or something comes up that piques your interest and at least has you having a double thought about it. Sometimes it's worth just going with the flow, and just getting away from stability and maybe being like, you know what, I'm gonna venture out of here a little bit and get away from my comfy blanket, and I'm gonna just see what happens. Um, Again, your toxic ego, if it says that has you seeking what is known, um, again, just like we've been talking about, the repeat cycle, right? That's known. Every day you get up at 6 o'clock, you grab a cup of coffee, you take a shower, you eat toast and eggs or whatever. You're out the door at 6:48. You're in the office by 7:15, and and these are all known things in your life. But when a curveball comes, or maybe you throw yourself a curveball and you do something different, let's say that you really are kind of like, I need to get fit, and your schedule says you can do it, but you got to wake up an hour earlier, go for a walk when you first wake up. Embrace it. There's tons of, the other thing is there's tons of different apps out there that show hiking trails throughout pretty much every city out there. Just find one that you like, and maybe you've never been there before. Just go see what you can see, or what it looks like, or is it a more challenging walk, or is it a less challenging walk? Well, you're never going to know unless you actually embrace the fact that you don't know. So if it is an unknown, don't shy away from it, and go back to what is known. Like, embrace that unknown factor of, I don't know what's going to happen with this. Worldly, if you're in life for worldly desires, like, you want more stuff, or if you really like a certain bourbon, or you only buy ultra sports cars or whatever, but they're worldly desires, right? Sometimes it's worth it just to sacrifice a vice, something that you've always been reliant on, and just give it up. See, again, embrace the unknown. See what happens with your life if you give up one of those those things that you've got out there. And this next one's a little bit like, you got to think about it. But if you're right now, the toxic ego looks at things as not necessarily bad. Meaning, you look at your life, your income, your job, your family, your health, and whatever, and you look at it and say, I'm not necessarily bad. Again, that's the toxic ego. If you're going to break out of that, you need to look at things as not necessarily good. So instead of looking at it and saying, I've got a good job, I make good money, live in a nice area. You know, yeah, I'm bigger than I want, but I'm pretty good for my age. That's not necessarily bad. Not necessarily good is going to look at it and say, I make great money, but I know there's more out there, and I know that there's wealth that I can create, not just money that I can make. The place that we live in. Is there something out there that is missing from your current place that you want in the new place? As you go through life, I mean, things change. You might go from starter house to first house with you and your significant other, to then you have kids and you need a little bit bigger house, and then you have another couple, another kid or whatever. Now you need a little bit bigger house. And then the reverse starts happening. They get through high school, they get into college, they get through college, and they're not coming home every weekend or, after school every day. And all of a sudden might look at that really big house and think, we don't need all this. I want a condo because I want something with no maintenance that we can go and do other stuff and not have to worry about the yard and, mowing and watering and stuff like that. I just want to be able to come home, leave, lock my door. I got nothing in there that needs my attention in terms of maintenance, so I'm good. But that's the difference in looking at things as not necessarily bad or looking at them as not necessarily good. If you got to get in that mindset of it's not necessarily good, because that drives you to push and continue to grow and make progress towards, I need to get to that good side. So, but as always, guys, if you're in the mode where you're feeling, stuck, you're repeating the same cycle, you're not living your best life, we've got programs and coaching that are here to help you guys. So just click on the link there, projectdownlife.com/coaching, and we'll set up and have a conversation and see exactly what your goals are and why they're your goals, and see if we're a fit for each other, and help you get to where you want to go and truly living your best life. All right, so continuing the same thing, just things to keep in mind that it's June 1st, so you still got 7 months left of the year. It doesn't matter if you started off with a goal at the beginning of the year and you gave up 6 weeks in. You don't need to wait until next year. Start today, and at least get thinking about some of the things that we've talked about, and where do you sit on those things? Are you the not necessarily bad, or are you the not necessarily good? I need to get to good. Okay. But with that, there's things you should never apologize for. One is crying. If something strikes you emotionally, you don't need to apologize because you shed a tear. There's plenty of movies out there, I'm sure, that guys will classify as a chick flick or whatever, but if given the opportunity to sit down and watch, you don't need to apologize if you shed a tear for it, or your kid graduates, or they score a winning goal, or They win the science fair, or your spouse launches her own business, and you can see the pride that she has in that. It's okay. Shed a tear. Don't apologize for crying. Don't apologize if you've got depression or anxiety or those feelings. Unfortunately, it's a part of life, to where you sometimes you go through and you feel down, or you have anxiety and you just feel like everything's just out of control. Obviously, there's individuals and people out there that have it, that it is recurring and needs medical attention. So please get that if that's you. But everyone goes through it. Even the happiest people that you'll ever meet, the people that are always smiling, always seem like, yes, everything is great, everything is good. They still go through depression. They still feel pressure. They either feel life pressure, work pressure, monetary pressure, too many things going on, and they're not in control of that. So don't apologize for it. Just know that everyone goes through it. Never apologize for how you feel. If something truly upsets you because it goes against your thoughts, your moral code, your ideals, whatever, it's okay that you feel upset, or that you feel frustrated, or that you feel just kind of balled up, because you think, why are you thinking this way? For me, I'm not going to apologize for the fact that I feel like the greatest impact that I can have is inspiring others to do what inspires them. But it starts with them. I get frustrated when people are on the other side of the fence and they're just like head down. They want more, but they're not willing to do anything about it. They're not willing to admit it. They're not willing to make any adjustments or pick their head up and think, what else is out there. It's frustrating, because if you just realize that you can take control of your own book, write your own narrative on life, but you just got to make that choice and put the work in. Never apologize for needing or asking for help. I'm not good at computers. I will be the first to raise my hand and say, I don't know what I'm talking about. And even at that point, people will explain it. It's a foreign language. And I would rather just be like, here's this, and here's some money, and just make this do this. Because up here, I see what I want it to do. Getting it to do it on here, I have no idea. So, but depending on your skill set or what you know or don't know or anything like that, there's a reason that people like myself, coaches, exist, because we offer different perspectives on certain things, and people that have the courage to step up and be like, hey, I want more of life, but I have no idea how to get there, and I need your help. that's them admitting that they need the help. Same thing with IT, or, with cooking, or anything fitness wise. Sometimes you need someone to help you, but you can't apologize for needing it and asking for it. Never apologize for expressing your opinion. Obviously, let's take some of the the hateful and the hurtful opinions out. But if you feel strongly about something, be it politically, or economically, or anything, and you've got a strong opinion on it, voice it. It's a strong feeling that you've got for a reason. It's not just a blind, I'm gonna pick this and I need to tell everyone about it. If that's your thing, then you've got some other stuff to work through, but you formed your opinion for a reason. Express what it is and don't apologize for it. Don't apologize for having high standards. You should expect more. We all should expect more. It doesn't say expecting perfection, but high standards. So if you're going and you're used to getting someone's 75%, you shouldn't stand for it. You should go out expecting someone's 95 or better percent. And you should have high standards. You have self-respect, and you respect yourself and your family, and where you are in life, and what you've got, and what your desire is, and what you're working on. And you should expect to have high standards for other aspects of your life. Don't apologize for being sensitive or emotional. Sometimes people will say or do things that hurt. They might make you emotional. Okay. You don't need to apologize if something that someone says bothers you, or something that someone does makes you emotional, be it upset, sad, super happy, whatever it is. And you don't need to apologize. You don't need to just be like this the whole time. You can experience those ups and downs, because it's what life's about. Never apologize for trusting your intuition. If you are looking into a purchase, or let's say you're a business owner and you're looking to hire someone, and you're looking at their resume, or you're looking at the vehicle, and it matches all the rational criteria in your mind that says, yeah, this is the right decision, but it doesn't feel right in your gut, trust your intuition. Because the second that you make a decision, and let's say you bring that person in because they matched all the criteria, or you buy that car because it matched all the criteria, if it didn't feel right in your gut, it's typically for a reason, and it will show itself. Either that new employee, they hit all their criteria, but they're just not a match for the people that you've got working with you and for you, who you've been a great leader and led them and they follow you, and this person's just not a fit. Or, you buy a whatever Honda Odyssey, and a few weeks in, you're like, it didn't feel like it was going to offer it didn't feel right, and all of a sudden it's like stuff doesn't fit right, or it doesn't have the get up and go or whatever that you thought. So never apologize for trusting your intuition. And then lastly, never apologize for being yourself. We are all unique and amazing individuals. There's close to 8 billion of us on this planet. And every single one of us has something. And we shouldn't apologize because you're quirky, or because, you really like, as an adult, like watching cartoons, or, whatever. If it's you and it's your true, authentic self, you should never apologize for going through life and having experiences based on you being you and what you enjoy. And if people want to judge you for it, then again, it goes back to, it's okay to be emotional or show signs of emotion, or get upset or frustrated or whatever, but never apologize and change who you are, to fit someone else's thought of what you need to be. There's plenty of people who are very wealthy, very successful out there, who their day to day is wearing a Hawaiian shorts and pair of shorts and flip flops, and they'll go to the nicest restaurants dressed like that. And it's just because they're comfortable and they are who they are. And on the other hand as well, right? You have people that you look at and it's like they're way overdressed for what they're doing, but that's their comfort and they're being true to themselves. So never apologize for that. But so the last couple episodes, so on Tuesday and then here on Thursday, we've just talked about things that you can do right now. It's June 1st. There's no time like the present to either, if you're not ready to do something, then you need to start getting ready. Because there is nothing written anywhere that says you can only start a new goal on January 1st. You could start your fitness journey on June 14th or August 9th. Doesn't matter. It could be a Wednesday. Doesn't have to be a Monday, so that it makes sense to us. Get out of that thought, right? Like, has to start on Monday, has to end on Sunday, it has to be the first of the month, has to be the first of the year, things like that. They're numbers on pieces of paper that you can go get at Hallmark. There's obviously some important holidays and stuff in there, but don't let that drive your life and drive your, what you're basing, I'll wait till New Year's. 85% of people that set a New Year's resolution this year were done within 6 weeks. 99% that set that resolution this year were done by April 1st. What percentage of those people do you think, when they got to that point to where you're like, I can't do this anymore, but next year is going to be my year? Well, you got 9 months left of this year. What are you going to do with it? So get out of that thought. It's a lifetime journey, not a 12-month journey, not a 8-week journey, not a month over month or get through the holidays journey. It's a true lifetime journey, and it doesn't matter when you start, just start. So, all right, that's enough time for today, but hope you guys had a good time, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. See ya.